Finnegan, and this is Witnessing Walworth. Today, we're walking through historic downtown Whitewater. Whitewater is a cozy town with a population of 15,000 and home to the UW-Whitewater Warhawks. In this episode of Witnessing Walworth, we'll be meeting with local businesses and learning more about the community. Here we are at our first stop, the Bookteller. So thank you for having us. If you could talk about when you opened and the history behind it. I know that this building was not always a bookstore too, it was apparently a bank building. So if you could elaborate on that.
Yeah, absolutely. So I opened in February 6th of 2019. We really wanted to add to the vibrancy of the downtown. You'll notice that we've got like lots of little nooks to sit and be comfortable and read. That was really important to us as well, to create that third space, that space that kind of feels like home but yet isn't home. But the history of the bank building is really quite interesting. So this building was built in 1914 in a Greek Revival style. It was built as a bank and remained a bank all the way through the mid-90s.
Yeah, and obviously there's quite a bit here. Are they mostly local authors? If you could elaborate on the types of books here.
Sure. We started out just selling used books, strictly used books. But then we started getting a lot of people that wanted new books.
Awesome, and I know we've been focusing on the books, but there's some other aspects here, like the art gallery, I believe?
Yes.
And like a gift store in the front. So if you could talk about that.
Sure. Well, my background is also in art. I'm a jeweler, and so I've been kind of connected with the local arts world for a little while now. So I was able to bring on, and that was one of the other, reasons for opening the shop, was to really focus on local talent and bring in not only local authors, but also local artists as well. And so all of our art is by local artists and makers. And we have everything from, watercolors to photography and ceramics, jewelry, of course.
So I think that's really interesting for students, like the books and the art aspect. But do you also have events that they can attend?
Yes, book clubs, and I had a big poetry reading the end of February. We'll have other workshops coming up, like a sock darning workshop, mend your own clothing workshop to tie into Earth Day. I also have a little bit of a sound system, so we'll be doing open mic nights and storytelling, slams.
And some students, like me, have old books that they want to donate. So do you take donations?
Love donations.
Okay.
Every donation we get helps us keep our store open another day.
And the community of Whitewater, how has that helped you with this business?
Oh my goodness, I've had so many wonderful people. Our local citizens of Whitewater are just very supportive of the shop. I also get a lot of tourists that come in, which is just so much fun, meeting people that, pop into Whitewater for the first time, or, a lot of parents coming in to drop their kids off at, camp or various activities at the university. But the community is, we're so community focused, and it's great to see the support.
Welcome back. We're at our second location, Barista Cat's Cafe. So if you could talk about when you opened, what the history was behind this business.
Sure, absolutely. We opened in February of 2023. I initially launched my business in 2022, but it took me about a year to get my doors open. And my first cat cafe that inspired me to even open it was in Liverpool, England. I traveled for about 35 days and I went to 7 different cat cafes out there. During that time I decided I wanted to open my own. So I got on the plane and came home.
Okay, so how many cats do you have here?
We currently home 30 cats. I opened up 5 emergency slots because of a hoarding situation that we're handling with one of our partners. But otherwise, we typically home 20 to 25 cats at any given time. And as we adopt them, we bring more kitties in.
And so what's the reservation process like? Or can people just walk in?
We do walk-ins based on availability. We offer a 30-minute walk-in or 1-hour walk-in. You can reserve 1-hour slots online. It's $13.50 per person for an hour. On Sundays, we offer our student Sundays. So all of our students, doesn't matter if you're at Whitewater or Milwaukee or in another state, is $6.
Okay, and students might also be wondering, can they get involved? Are you hiring? Do you have volunteers?
We do take volunteers. We're not hiring at this time, but usually in the summer times I do pick up another position because we can tend to get a little bit busier with the summer slam, as I call it.
And I know we were talking about adoption and how that's a possibility with the cats you have. If you could talk a little bit about that.
We do adoptions based on the kitty's availability or readiness. And that just means that when we get some of these really traumatized background cats, we rehabilitate them first. They tell us when they're ready to go home through socialization and interactions with you guys. It's important to have people here because it's the students and our community that come in and help us socialize the kitties. Our adoption fee is $175, but all of our cats come fully spayed, neutered, microchipped, up to date on the vaccines, a recent vet visit within 6 months, along with an amazing care package that includes food, litter, toys, salmon oil for their skin and coat and things like that.
Okay. And do you have any special events that students could attend?
Yeah, absolutely. So we host several events throughout the month, from crafting with cats on Wednesdays. We also do pause and painting, which all of these paintings are from the kitties. And then we have movie night on the 3rd Friday of every month, and that's usually a fun cat-themed movie, but we put our projector up on the wall and we just kind of hang out with cats and have popcorn.
So you're one of the employees here. What has kind of been your experience? What do you like? Maybe what are the challenges?
I think one of the most challenging things is not sitting down and petting the cats. I really love all of them. It's hard to see them go to new homes, and sometimes we get really sad situations coming in. But it's really amazing to see them go home, even though it is kind of sad. Being able to see them grow from being super terrified of people or terrified of certain objects and just horrible situations to a loving family. It's one of my favorite things to see.
Why should other students consider working here?
Honestly, it's really calming. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoy being able to come here after like a really stressful week or just a stressful day and just kind of relax and just hang out with all the cats. It's really amazing.
So obviously you could have picked a lot of places, I feel like, to have your business. Why Whitewater?
Because Whitewater has an incredible community. The college base was really important to me. My daughter was a freshman in college during COVID, so she was locked down her freshman year and really struggled with her mental health. So I wanted to bring that aspect to the community and give these kids a safe space, a positive way to cope with that.
And why do you think people should visit Whitewater in general?
Oh, it's an amazing town. We've got so many different mysteries. You know, there's the Witch's Tower, there's all the old historic aspects of it as well, and just the college, period. It's its own inner city in itself.
We're at our third location, Stellar Vintage. So can you tell us when you opened, what the history is of the store?
Yeah, so kind of the history of how I got this place started. Okay, yeah. So we opened in February of 2024, so it's been about just over a year now that we've been doing this. So I actually started reselling on Depop. I kind of got into the vintage scene when I was graduating high school and during quarantine. So I was doing a lot of online resale. And then I actually went to school here. I met my partner here, so we decided to live here, kind of stay around for a while. And so this spot was open for a few months, and so we got in touch with the landlord and just decided to go for it. I had just gotten my psych degree and was working in psych, but I knew this is what I wanted to do full time, so I just went for it.
And what's kind of the inspiration? I read that the space age.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, the inspiration behind the name is kind of multifaceted. So I did want to go for kind of a space age aspect. I'm really fascinated by mid-century trends, clothing, architecture, things like that. I think it's a really interesting time in history, and so I've always been intrigued by that. So I wanted to kind of tie in the 50s, 60s, 70s stuff, but then I also kind of wanted to tie in like a cyber age kind of vibe.
So obviously you said you're very new. How has the growth been over the last year?
It's been awesome. Yeah, it's so nerve-wracking starting a business because, you know, starting it is one thing, but keeping it going and keeping it sustainable, you have to grow and you have to make connections with the community. There's a lot that you have to do to keep going. And so since we have opened, we have had an awesome community form. I have a ton of regulars who I see super often, have maintained really close relationships with. We've done a ton of events with the university, so we've worked with sustainability. We've ended at the Pride Festival last year. We have thrown our own event at Second Salem, the Whitewater Flea. We've done clothing swaps, so yeah, lots of events, and that's what we want to continue doing because that's kind of what keeps us connected to our community, and that's always our goal.
Specifically the Whitewater Flea Market, if there's any other details.
Yeah, so we had our first one in December, and that was over at Second Salem, and that went really well. We had about, I think, 12 to 14 vendors, if I remember correctly. So we had clothing and makers as well, and it went really well. It was super successful. So we're doing that again in early May. So we're going to be doing that at Second Salem again, and we're opening up the patio. So we're going to have the kind of banquet room and then also the patio open to vendors. So we're going to have some more space for some new people this time. So that's going to be on May 8th. And we're going to have, again, clothing, we're going to have crafters. We don't have the official vendor list yet, but it'll be super fun, and we're just so grateful to Second Salem for allowing us to have that space too, because it's kind of perfect for people to be able to support him and his business as well.
And what is your favorite thing about Whitewater?
I think there's a lot that I love about Whitewater, but I think just going back to what we were talking about before, I think the community is incredible. I've found so much support through so many people in the community, whether it's people from the university, who work in the university, college students, people on Center Street, the city, chamber. You know, I've just had a lot of support from people, so I think the community, I think that's a special thing about small towns that you can't necessarily get from owning a business in a bigger city. So yeah, that's what I love about it. It's really special.